Overseas now, the G7 this morning, President Trump has said the Strait of Hormuz will be reopening in full over the next day or two. The vital waterway has been a key component of the tentative agreement between Washington and Tehran. As we've told you, around 20% of the world's oil supply flows through this relatively narrow strait. But in a recent article for Semafor, Tim McDonnell, the outlet's climate and energy director, wrote that although the deal with Iran may bring marine traffic back to pre-war levels, global energy trade will never be the same. Tim joins us now from the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv. Tim, explain to us why you think, even if this, let's say this deal does go through, the strait's completely reopened, why do you think we'll never go back to the way things were?
This has been one of the really fascinating lessons to come out of this unprecedented energy crisis that we've all been living through for the last several months. I think there's been a real recognition of the danger posed by these energy choke points, of which the Strait of Hormuz is certainly the sort of biggest and most obvious one. The people have been flagging as a risk for many years, but really thought that it would have the willingness or the wherewithal to actually close it off in the way that it has. And so, I think even as we start to see shipping come back through the strait in the days ahead, and there's a lot of uncertainty about how long that's going to take and what's going to be required for that. I think countries all over the world who are energy importers are taking really a second, much closer look at what the conditions of their own energy security are going to be, and trying to do everything they can to get away from sources that are coming through choke points like this. And I think you'll also see a lot of the Gulf exporting countries putting a ton of investment in the years ahead into new pipelines, new export terminals, again, looking at ways of defeating this choke point and, not going back to the status quo that we had before February.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, which was sort of my question there, Tim, which is what kind of calculus are companies going to make, given that it appears now, one thing that we were never sure of until this very moment, until President Trump launched this war against Iran, is whether the Iranians could use the Strait of Hormuz as a lever in bargaining. In other words, the ability to open and close it at will, seemingly, is something that they have now discovered that they can do. No one knew if that was possible, and no one wanted to test it because of these current economic conditions we all find ourselves in right now. Now we know, and Iran knows, that the president can say, we'll start bombing again. Well, Iran can say, we'll just shut down the Strait of Hormuz again. And so no one wants that. And so I wonder then what kind of calculus are these companies going to make in the future, given that you never know when the Iranians, and it may not have anything to do with the United States, it may just be something else. Maybe they're belligerent against the state of Israel or some other power in the region, another Sunni power that they disagree with.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the immediate term, you are going to see, I think, a rush of tankers back into the Gulf and trying to reestablish some of the trade that existed before. This has been an incredible few months for oil and gas traders who have been able to put some bets on where the price is going to go and the flows, and be able to make a lot of money that way. So that's going to happen in the near term. I think for companies that are thinking about the longer term implications of this, I just think it's very clear, once again, that the real path to energy security for a lot of companies is going to involve electrification, trying to do as much kind of in-house energy that you can, not being so much exposed to these really volatile global oil and gas markets that I think, even once they kind of get back to some normal flow here, are going to continue to see a lot of roller coaster activity. That's just their nature for the foreseeable future. So I think that's kind of what this looks like, just a shift to accelerating some of those electrification trends that have been happening in the global economy. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that.
All right, Tim McDonnell, thank you very much. Appreciate it.